Oh man, it's been a long time. All right. 3, 2, 1, record.
Oh shit! Who talks first? Fuck.
Oh no! I was just about to say, are we gonna have that silence of doom right at the beginning of a podcast episode because it's been so long since we've recorded one with the two of us.
Well, shit, we just did it, so let's just fucking go. uh, welcome to the welcome to the fucking amazing podcast, or for short, FAPcast, episode 001.
With no title.
Yeah, well, it's about time. It's about time.
When I was writing up the show notes for this episode, I couldn't decide between hell it's about time and making a reference to StarCraft or kept you waiting, huh?
And then my visor
both seemed.
Yeah, and then my visor closes, and then my helmet fills up with cigar smoke, and my eyes water, and I start coughing.
And you can't breathe in your fucking mech suit because you didn't think that through.
Yeah, and you can't get out of your mech suit because you're literally welded into it. Which, how did that guy? I mean, there's that one cutscene where he's like trying to scratch his nuts through the suit.
How do you scratch your nuts through a marine suit?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming like things like pissing and pooping are kind of taken care of. But
see, that's an American Horror Story right there. How do you scratch your nuts when you're a StarCraft Marine?
Or worse, it's like, okay, like with the pooping thing, like, okay, now hear me out.
Oh, you've thought about this?
No, I haven't. I'm just free balling right now.
Okay.
Free balling. No, like, okay, so like, since he's welded into his suit, how does pooping work? Because it's like if he's like could just sort of shit anywhere. I mean, and as long as he's inside the suit, he could just like take a shit. My question is, it's like, if he just shits, he's unable to like clean his ass, so he's gonna get like
how does he wipe his ass? Well, okay, so you know how like for people who have certain kinds of diseases, like they have these machines that just stick into their side and it just automatically pumps straight from the kidneys, so they never pee.
Like a colostomy bag.
Yeah, right. So I mean, this is StarCraft we're talking about. They're highly technologically advanced. So it stands to reason that they have a similar machine for the colon, and it's just a perpetual low power vacuum shoved into their colon that just sucks the shit out before they actually have to shit.
I was thinking it might be something like that, just like a shit tube just shoved right up their ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Or something kind of intravenous, you know. So they probably have one of those into their kidneys and one into their colon.
It means they also have a catheter as well.
Oh, it doesn't necessarily have to be a catheter though. Like it could literally just be a tube shoved directly into their kidneys.
Yeah, it could be that too.
And it just takes it and it just maybe it's like a still suit. Like from Dune, where it sort of cleanses and reuses what it can and vents what it can't.
Yeah, because
uses the methane from the colon to power the suit.
Yeah, you can't really compare it to like the Warhammer 40K Space Marines, because I think they're just like genetically engineered to just not shit. That they just use everything.
When you can specifically like breed things, like breed animals or breed humans or whatever your race is, to do and function biologically in specific ways, like it does stand to reason that you would be able to eventually devise a way to breed something that didn't have to shit. Like maybe its body was just so efficient that nothing was wasted.
That's like the goal of science, is to design an animal that doesn't need to shit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the actual job of evolutionary biologists in America. Their job is to devise a way to turn evolution so that humans don't have to shit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that is actually the official publicly stated mission.
Oh god, now I just started thinking, it's like, could that like eventually destroy the universe? I mean, if there's just like something that just consumes and doesn't, well, it would probably sweat.
Doesn't produce waste.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like there has to be waste of some kind. Like
Yeah,
you can't. It's like the rules of fucking alchemy in Fullmetal Alchemist. You can't like take something and wipe it from existence, nor can you make something out of nothing, right? So, you know,
It's like
laws of thermodynamics.
It's like Nibbler from Futurama. It's just once a year he just shits out like a small cube of dark matter.
He shits out like a poop that's so dense that it creates a black hole.
Yeah.
Before we go off into a really crazy direction, let's reiterate something really important here. My name is Mbullshit,
And
I'm joined by.
I guess I'll just go by Deathmech, my slave name.
We'll call you Toby from now on. Oh my god, it has been so long since we've recorded one of our conversations. God. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Once again, welcome to the fucking amazing podcast, or for short, FAPcast. This is my and MDefMech's our together joint new podcast. And it has been, how long has it been since we have done a podcast? 2 years?
Yeah, let's just say 2 years. I mean,
It's been about 2 years, maybe more, maybe a little bit less.
I don't know. I'm sure one of our if well no there's people who are still following this, and to those people, thank you. And if you do remember our last episode, please tell me.
Yeah, please tell me when it was, because I don't even remember what we talked about. I was drunk.
Yeah, I was probably drunk as well.
God, so let's retrace our steps here, right? So you and I met back in what, 2011?
Yeah.
Must have been 2011.
Yeah, it was about 2011.
And at that time, you were producing a podcast called The Electric Brony.
Yes, I was.
For the My Little Pony fandom. And the two of us, at that time, I was helping out with another podcast called Bronyville. Some of you might remember that one. Some of you who were fans of My Little Pony. We started a My Little Pony podcast called Grand Camelot Cavalcade in color. A Gentlecles podcast for sophisticated bronies. I'm very proud of that name. I helped come up with it.
Yeah, that was a very good name.
And after, what, 2 years of that?
It kind of...
Christ.
Well, we did about 85 episodes, not including extras, of GCC in color, and then we switched to just the GCC when we started moving away from the MLP Brony fandom.
Yeah, and we decided to keep GCC because we had always referred to the Grand Cavalcade as that. We figured to keep the name, but we couldn't figure out what to rename it and what like GCC would stand for, so we just called it GCC, which was probably the worst decision.
And I think we continued that for about another 35 or 40 episodes, and then we decided to just do like a complete like rebranding to FAPcast, and right about that time was when we could no longer record. I think we did like 2 episodes of FAPcast, but I think those were lost to the ether, and we just kind of just sort of petered out and stopped.
It all went away. It was taken by life.
Taken by those goddamn Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about what we've been doing. But before we talk about what we've been doing and, you know, why we haven't done an episode, I would like to first say thank you to those of you who are still following me and us. I know there are a lot of people who followed me for music, and at the same time that I stopped doing podcasts, I also, for the same reason, stopped doing music. And so I want to say thanks to the people who followed me for music and are still following me on Tumblr, YouTube, or Twitter, or whatever. That's really awesome that you guys are still sticking around. And yes, I do have music in the pipeline coming because I've finally had time to sit down and do more music. I also have another project that I'm doing with someone else that I'll probably talk about later.
And I, too, would like to thank everybody who is still following me, either from the podcast or just from wherever. And I do appreciate you guys putting up with me and my numerous breakdowns and just mental destructions that I've had. I do appreciate that. And yeah, I've mostly just been trying to launch a YouTube channel and failing, and I've been really working on my drawing, my sketches and drawings, and they're better. They're better than they were before. That's all I'm going to say about that for right now. And most recently, I started a video game project, an indie game. Well, of course it's going to be indie game. Back in November, I started work on it. Haven't done any actual coding yet, but I've laid out what I want to do in the game and the story. Well, most of the story. It's going to be very lore heavy. And I'm giving myself 4 years to complete it. So far, pretty much nothing's been done with it yet. Yeah, so that's been what I've been doing. A whole lot of nothing.
So we have a whole section for talking about all that stuff towards the end of our main topics here. But like before we really get into that, let's talk about what is FAPcast. And I would first like to say that I did not have as much hand in making the title for this podcast this time around as I did the last time. MDefic actually pitched the title for the podcast to me, and I really like it. I think FAPcast is hilarious. It rolls off the tongue like a dick.
I think I came up with FAPcast before we came up with fucking amazing.
Yeah. It was. If I recall correctly, it was you said I want to have a podcast named FAPcast. What can FAP stand for?
Yeah. And I guess just fucking amazing just sort of rolled off the tongue.
Yeah. So we are the fucking amazing podcast cast.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we could be a lot like Maddox with the best page in the universe, though. I don't know. Our claim to that fame might be a little bit dubious.
But anyways, let's talk about because I know that you want to get into this. What are we going to be doing on FAPcast?
Well, we're going to be talking about topics and having...
We're going to be saying words?
We're going to be saying words. We're going to be having discussions. We may have a rant or two. You will be doing some music stuff later on, I believe.
Yeah, there's a segment I want to start doing that's going to be dealing with music, YouTube artists.
Yeah, it's going to be called Eminem and Eminem. Super Slim Shady.
Triple M is the working title. Stands for In Bullshit's Music Minute. Because I want to do a 60-second segment. I want to get into editing something like that because that sounds like it'd be fun.
Yeah, that does sound like it would be interesting. What genres were you thinking of doing?
No genre limitations.
Okay, good.
I could 1 week be talking about Beethoven and 1 week be talking about the newest EDM artist that popped up on YouTube. I'm not going to limit any like I have done before in our podcasts, I don't like to talk about any specific set of music. You know, I'm all about all kinds of music, so.
So one week we could have Tibetan throat singing. The next week we could have animal death metal.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like the sound of both of those things.
Yeah. What was that one metal group with the parrots that just screams?
Or like that Ned Flanders themed death metal band Oakley Dokley.
Or K-Ninus with the lead singer as a pit bull.
I do want to say this. Generally, most of the topics that we're going to be covering in the show are going to be ones that we covered usually in GCC. We're going to be talking about general nerd stuff, television, cartoons, anime, video games, movies. There's a lot of radio stuff that I want to talk about. I expect we will likely also be talking about fandom drama.
Oh, yeah.
Because that did so well. I mean, God, that did so well for us for our last podcast. Some of our most downloaded episodes were us talking about failing cons and crazy fans. And, I think that things like that's a really fun thing to talk about. But this time, I would like to make it clear, we are not attached to any individual fandom. This is not an MLP podcast like our previous one. This is not a sci-fi podcast. We want to be kind of all-encompassing with everything, nerd and geek related.
Yeah. I've fully converted or subscribed to the idea that fans are great, fandoms are cancer.
And I am looking forward to talking about just how cancerous. Let's not trip on the tongue. Just how cancerous some fandoms can be. I think that you did a series, I think, or you're doing a series, aren't you? Called Your Fandom is Cancer.
Yeah. I'm doing a series on YouTube called Fandoms Are Cancer, and I kicked it off with the Overwatch fandom.
Of course.
Yes, because
the new one.
Yes, the newest and the youngest one, and the most probably the most craziest. Funnily enough, outside of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best. It's like I said. I think at the end of that YouTube episode was, the best way to get away from Overwatch drama is to play Overwatch. So.
And I know you've got a lot of YouTube videos going on here. And I would like to also sort of reiterate one thing. So. MDefMech and I both have our own social media outlets. And all of the social media outlets that each of us have are things that we have ourselves, that we run ourselves. MDefMech doesn't have a hand in editing anything I post on Tumblr or Twitter, and I don't have a hand in editing or writing anything that he posts on YouTube. So when he and I are doing this podcast, this is something we do together. Everything else is not things that we do together. So when I say stuff on Twitter, I want to make it clear that is not representative of things that MDefMech thinks.
And when I make content, when I make content on YouTube or make a post on Twitter, that I only represent myself. I do not represent in bullshit, and my views are not to be interpreted as in bullshit's views.
Yeah, I think.
So if you're pissed off at me, come to me. Don't come to him bullshit, because he's not gonna fucking hear you.
I used to get messages on occasion about people yelling at me for stuff that you said. I'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about, because I don't even read the stuff that MDefMech says half the time. It's like I follow him on Twitter, but I don't look at his Twitter. Like, I don't know, what did he say this time? I have no idea. So I would like to reiterate that there are a lot of things that MDefMech and I agree on, and there are a lot of things that MDefMech and I disagree on. So the things generally that we disagree on are usually things that we don't bring up in a podcast, because it's kind of backwards and pointless to have us argue on a podcast episode. So, we use our various media outlets to sort of say those things, which brings me to my next point, which is down here on we have a little Google Doc with all of our show ideas. I would like to make this very clear. For the most part, in FAPcast, we will not be covering a whole lot of political stuff.
No, we won't because the reason I won't is because it's pretty much already beat to death, especially in the current climate. Politics are just gone over and over and over and over and over again. So there's no real point in us discussing it. And also, I have my own channel where I can vent that stuff. And it doesn't seem like it would make for a good show if we just hammer over politics all the time.
And especially since, there are a few things with this most recent election cycle that you and I do actually disagree on.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, just so you know, we are two separate individuals, which means we have separate opinions.
Yeah, the way people used to send us fan mail, sometimes you'd think that like you would be so sure that they thought we were some kind of hive mind, and that like everything you thought about I knew, and it was very silly.
Well, it's like there's some things that we have very similar thinking on, but there are other things that we absolutely don't. And well, if anything, I am hoping we can show, especially with what's been happening in the past few weeks, that we can show that, hey, you can be friends and not be politically similar to each other.
Yeah.
I think we just leave it at that.
Yeah. And that's so. Politics may occasionally come up, but
if it does, it's something that we both agree on.
If it does, it's something that we both agree on, and also something that we both feel exceptionally strongly about, and don't mind both saying those things on a podcast. But for the most part, I've actually put the words here: limited political talk, in this little doc that we're looking at. So
yeah.
That's one thing that I do want to make clear to the people who are still listening to us. We used to talk a lot about politics on our previous podcast, but that's largely going to go away. However, one kind of politics is going to be highly prevalent, because I'm going to talk about it all the time, and that is fandom politics.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to fandoms as organizations, as collectives, as communities, I think talk about that kind of politics is very important, because there are some absolutely ludicrously stupid things that happen in fandoms that lead to, among other things, emotional distress, and things like that.
Death
and
threats?
I feel like, death threats. And I feel like that's something that really needs to be talked about. I am not above getting as fucking angry as I used to. Oh, jeez. I used to get really mad on GCC. If I recall correctly, through all of the drunken nights of recording that I probably don't remember correctly, I used to get pretty angry. And, I wouldn't mind doing that, because that was honestly fun. It was cathartic, really. And I've already got a couple of a couple of show ideas lined up for some stuff, including some stuff going on in the World of Warcraft fandom. Wow, what an old fandom that is.
Oh, God. Quick aside, I'm watching... It's a 211 video playlist called The Lore of Warcraft by Nubble87, and each episode, the average length of each episode is about 25 minutes. And I'm only about 34 episodes in, and he covers Warcraft lore going all the way back to the first game. And
wow.
Gee, there's a lot of fucking lore.
There's a lot of fucking lore. There's a lot of books, too.
He covers the books as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I've read a few of those, actually. I was a huge fan of Warcraft up until, like, Wrath of the Lich King, basically, which was when I stopped playing. So... That is a huge amount of lore.
Yeah, that is a insanely huge amount of lore. What are other Well, of course, the Overwatch fandom. That's always a good.
That one's going to be going in. I'm sure at some point we're going to be talking about the Steven Universe fandom.
Oh, dude, we can
We
go
both are going
about.
to be talking about that.
Yeah,
You mentioned Star versus the Forces of Evil,
Star versus the Force of Evil. I think we
and
could both agree on Voltron.
Voltron. Yes, I have been peeking into the Voltron fandom, and occasionally I feel the abyss staring back at me. You know. Still checking in every so often on the My Little Pony fandom, but every time I look into their, I think of this. There's this post on Tumblr a few days ago that went something along the lines of, "When you stare into the abyss not should not say back, hey dude."
Yeah.
And I occasionally get that vibe from the My Little Pony fandom, among other fandoms. I'm a part of the community of people who play WildStar Online, and man, what a mess that community is sometimes. So there'll be plenty of fandoms to talk about, and we'll be covering them all as much as we can. Of course, we plan on approaching, or at least I plan on approaching, every new fandom that we talk about with the intent to cover it for someone who is not aware of that fandom or that work that the fandom is around. But I would like to say, like, generally, we're going to stick to kind of nerdy, geeky kind of things because that's what GCC did, and that worked really well for us. So
Yeah, I think
we'll see how that goes.
I think that's a pretty good overview of what we're gonna do fandom wise.
I would also like to say this. We had a reputation with the GCC as being that one that was rowdy and raunchy. And I don't know why, because there were plenty of other podcasts that were way worse than ours. But we were the ones who, like, people said, "Oh, it's that one," and I don't know why. But we're not changing that. I don't plan on changing that.
No, I'm not gonna change that.
It is too fun to do an adult show. I've known people who have done family-friendly podcasts, and I can tell you right now that more times than not, they have said to me or to other people, and I've heard them say, "Man, I really wish I could have said this, but we don't say this kind of stuff on our show, or we don't say these kinds of things on our show." And I think that having a show without limitations is a lot more fun. Of course, we have the limitation of we're not going to be talking about politics really, but in terms of language, let's be clear. This is a show for adults. We will be of a certain rating, I assume. We don't have to do ratings on YouTube, do we? It doesn't really matter.
No, we don't. I mean, as long as we don't do out and out porn, I think we'll be okay.
Well, being that I don't plan on being a part of any porn that involves you.
Yeah, I don't think
that'll be a problem.
Yeah, I think we'll be totally fine there.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. I think that covers most.
I think that about covers it. Oh, let's also say this. We do have a Tumblr. We'll be talking about all of our social media later. I would like to say this once we give our Tumblr. We're joint set up on that one, right? I have access to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. Yeah.
Yeah. If you listeners, if there are actually people listening to this, because who knows? No one may listen to this. We used to make that joke. No one listens to us on the GCC. And who knows, maybe no one will listen to this. But if you do and you want to send us a message, I will like to ask that you either do it on the YouTube video that we post these on. All of our episodes are going to go straight to YouTube. They're also going to be available for download. What are you going to do? You're going to be uploading to Mega Upload?
I was figuring on just sticking it on YouTube for now because that's just a widely used platform. And I'll just make sure that it's just a still image and just audio for the video.
I mean, if people want to download to take it and go.
Still haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, we'll be working on a way for you to be able to listen to it on download. I don't think we're gonna be able to use Mega Upload. We could use MediaFire though.
We could. The reason I was really pushing for YouTube was because that's something that is on pretty much every platform, and if people just really want to download and save it, they can. through various means.
Oh
But
yeah, and I mean, like full permission given right now.
yeah,
Please, if you want to, use a YouTube downloader to download these and take them and go.
oh,
Absolutely, we don't
oh
give a
yeah,
shit.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. We don't give a shit. We're This is pretty much just gonna be Creative Commons, reuse allowed. So go ahead and reuse it, remix it. Just don't make people pay money for it.
Yeah, if we find you reselling this shit, someone's gonna break down your door
and just fucking kill you.
and just yeah, or something.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what it's gonna be for now. I kind of, well, we could talk about that later after the show, because it would be cool just to start up a SoundCloud again. But I wanna put some stipulations on that we could hammer out later on. So.
Yeah, we may go back to SoundCloud. I will look into file hosting and see if I can't just get something done just for like a file hosting service, to have like, you know, low quality, low bit rate versions of all of our episodes available for download. That way, for people who are too lazy to figure out how to download from YouTube, and also in the off chance that those sites go away because YouTube nukes them, or Google nukes them. So we'll be working on ways to make it easier for you to download this. But for now, you know, sticking to YouTube is the best bet. Anyways, going back to what I was saying before, if you want to interact with us, anyone who's listening to us, if you guys want to interact with us, if you want to send us show ideas, if you want to ask us questions, if you want to tell us off, feel free to leave comments on the YouTube videos. And also, we are going to have a Tumblr set up for those of you who use Tumblr or know how to use Tumblr, and we'll have asks open, so you can send that Tumblr and ask. Like, we're going to list off our personal, social media outlets, but, if you have questions for the show, I would rather you didn't send those to those locations, because, like, I use my Tumblr for taking commissions sometimes. And so I want to have it, my own inbox sort of dealt with for that. And I don't look at Twitter.
Yeah, and I pretty much use Twitter to shitpost. Twitter's where I shitpost. I don't take Twitter seriously at all. And I use Tumblr to post my artwork, and also just sort of as a dump for anything creative I do. And every once in a while somebody sends me an ask yelling at me about something I said on Twitter, which is like, okay. Yeah, so it's just send show related content, keep it to the show related sites and channel. Basically Tumblr and YouTube.
So let's get into our next topic here, and this is more for people. I mean, this is obvious. This is not going to be for anyone who might be on the very slim chance that there is someone who has never heard us before listening to this podcast. This section is not for you because you have no fucking idea who we are. And honestly, if you're new to knowing about me and MDefMech, or having never listened to our shows or whatever, honestly, you can just sort of skip forward to the next episode, whenever that is. Because this next section is more for people who did listen to our previous podcast or have followed us on Tumblr, for a time. What have we been up to in these 2 years, or however fucking long it's been since we last did a podcast? And MDefMech, why don't you go first?
Well, what have I been up to for the past couple years? Well, around work, it's mostly just been just dealing with life in general, and dealing with a lot of mental issues, which is fucking difficult. I'm pretty sure that's absolutely no surprise that having depression, anxiety, stuff like that it's something that's really difficult to deal with, but you kind of just have to deal with it. and around that and around work, it's been just trying to draw when I can, trying to basically like with YouTube, just throwing ideas up and seeing what sticks. So far, only up until like the past couple weeks have I had a couple videos sort of take off, which is a good thing because that means that tells me what I should start focusing more on, and also coming up with ideas because my main YouTube channel is mostly just a commentary channel, sort of what like what Sargon of Akkad does, or like what Chris Raygun does, sort of just commentary on things happening in the world. Though I tend to stick more to like video games and just like social media stuff, and less in the discussion of culture and and that whole fucking mess. And I've been writing up scripts for. I have about 20 scripts that are mostly complete for a second YouTube channel where I actually create content talking about, instead of doing just commentary, actually like creating content about things I like cars, various cars, video games I like, and stuff like that. And that's something I'm just gonna really invest a lot of work into. And well, now I'm talking about what I'm planning on doing. That's not really going over what has been happening. Went to PAX South, which is very enjoyable. I ticked that off my bucket list. I went to a PAX. Yeah, it was the easiest PAX to get to because they didn't sell out within 2 minutes. And that was fun. And mostly just been like hanging out, and just basically just being a lazy fuck. How about that? Sorry, I didn't go for nearly as long as I thought I would. My life is really empty.
Well, let's see. Right around the time that we attempted to start FAPcast for the first time, and it failed spectacularly, largely because I disappeared off the face of the internet. For those of you following me on Tumblr, this past 2 years has literally just been a queue.
Yeah.
I haven't posted anything. And the reason for that was, at first, it was school. School ramped up really hard for me. I didn't have time to work on music anymore because I was doing music stuff for school, because I went to school for music. And I was also working. And then, after I finished school, it became working. And it was just working as much as I could, all the time. And, leftover time spent on video games. And I'm actually about to leave this job, but I had been working for a company called the National Supply Group, which I think I talked about, actually, on one of the very last episodes.
I do know you actually did try to avoid talking about it for a while.
Yeah, because what happened was a lot of really weird HR things happened, and there were reports about misconduct in the company, and there was some stuff about one of my many bosses doing things that might have not been very legal, and I wasn't sure how much of it I could talk about. I actually still am not. I actually need to check to see if I can talk about some of that stuff, because if I can, man, am I wanting to talk about that shit on the podcast, because it was fucking incredible. In general, working for the National Supply Group has been fucking incredible. Just to give some background, in case some of you have forgotten or you're new and you don't remember, the National Supply Group is a retail organization that is partnered with the Boy Scouts of America. and is contracted by the Boy Scouts of America as the only company in the world allowed to produce things that are copyrighted by affiliates of the Boy Scouts of America. So things like Boy Scout uniforms, we're the only company that's allowed to manufacture and sell them. And so working for the National Supply Group as a retail associate basically means you sell Boy Scouts and Boy Scout accessories and Boy Scout related things.
You don't actually sell Boy Scouts.
I don't actually sell Boy Scouts. I should probably reiterate that I don't sell physical Boy Scouts. Yeah. That's human trafficking, and it's fucking illegal.
Yeah, don't sell your children.
Yeah, let's be clear here. We don't condone the act of selling children on this show. I think it might be important to say that because we've had people misconstrue the things that we said before, and people go off and talk about how we support child rape. That's not true. I don't know who said that, and I don't know where you got that idea.
Yeah, and besides, you buy a kid, and it fucking dies, and it's like, where do you go to get a return?
Dump its body, and it cries all the time until it's dead. What's the point?
You don't get you don't get a warranty at all, and if it breaks, you can't just
you can't send it back to the manufacturer to get it fixed.
Yeah, it's just kids are just a bunch of bullshit. Just get a robot baby.
Why would you willingly pay to obtain a child?
Yeah,
ridiculous notion. Anyways,
plus it's illegal.
Yeah, that's that too. So anyways, I've basically not really been working for the Boy Scouts, but working as a Boy Scout for a retail organization. And man, that was a retail job. And man, do I have things to say about retail jobs. And at one point I had two jobs going. And I also teach trombone and euphonium in private. I'm a private teacher. So, there was a time where I was very busy, and then there was a time where I wasn't in school, so I wasn't as busy. But by the time that rolled around and I had graduated and I had my little piece of paper that said I went to school and passed, my schedule of work had completely desynced from MDefMex. And we both decided to just fuck off on podcasting because it became no longer possible for us to record on a regular basis, and it became very difficult for us to actually communicate with each other because we were almost never home at the same time.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm not home right now, but funnily enough, technology has improved enough to where I can do this now on the road, and it's actually pretty easy for me to do. So I do not need to be home right now, though next time I'll remember to bring the right USB cord for my Blue Yeti, so I'm not talking on the headset like I am right now.
I'm actually recording on a Blue Yeti microphone myself right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point we'll both be on these. Actually, MDefMec was the guy who turned me on to having these things. I've actually recorded instruments with this thing, and it's fantastic. I love it. It's a great little microphone, especially for the price. It was like $70. It was super cheap. So anyways, a few things have happened in recent months that have sort of changed my life. The first thing is, I accepted Jesus as my personal savior. Oh. No, that was a joke. I didn't do that.
Oh.
The first was that I actually, secured a new job. So I'm going to be quitting working with and for Boy Scouts. And actually have secured a regular, reasonable, great full-time, good benefits job, which I may talk about in the coming months. And the new schedule for this job is actually regular and will sync up actually rather nicely with me being able to talk with MDefMec, which is why we're now sitting here. I actually put in my 2 weeks with the National Supply Group about 5 days ago. So my manager's actually first my manager tried to shove me in as many days as fucking possible, and now my schedule is starting to lighten up.
See, that's usually the reverse of what happens when you say you give your 2 weeks, is that they don't give you any hours at all.
It's because what happened is the store that I work in, it's a store. It's a small store, and it has a small staff. There's only 5 people working the whole store. and one of them is a manager. And unfortunately, one of our employees who was the other, like, I have a really free schedule because I'm not in school anymore. So I was able to go in basically whenever my manager wanted. And two of the other employees are in school, and one's doing his master's degree. So he has very little time. And there's only one other employee besides the manager who can be there whenever the manager wants them to be. And she actually contracted a very, very nasty respiratory infection that landed her in the hospital. And then after she got out of the hospital, her doctor said, no, you cannot go anywhere near children because what you've just contracted is highly, what's the word? It's easily transmissible to children. It's very infectious to children. So the doctor actually told her she couldn't come to work because we work around and with children quite often because it's the Boy Scouts. And so she's been out for about a week and a half now, and she won't be back until like a week after I've already left. So we've been very understaffed in our store because of that. So my managers had to shove me in as many days as possible to make up for the fact that, for this period of time, I'm one of the only employees that has a free schedule that can help. But anyways, that's going to be going away soon. I'm going to have a new job, and it's going to be more regular, and it's going to be better, and it's going to pay better. And hopefully, I'll get into a better, nicer living situation. Anyways, the point is, my schedule is a lot more regular now, and it's easier for me and MDefMech to plan days to sit down and actually be able to talk for more than 15 minutes via text.
Yeah, it should work out much better right now.
The other thing that changed in my life was in December, I got myself a PlayStation 4 Pro. That was actually on the level of accepting Jesus as my personal savior, to be honest.
Oh, I guess if we're talking about stuff like that, I got a new truck. More like it was given to me to use by the owner. Switched from a Kenworth to a Volvo truck now, and it's got a very, very large sleeper, and I'm actually talking to you at a table in the truck.
Well, so let me get this straight. You have a table in your truck, like is it like a coffee table?
No, it's like a table I can eat at or set my laptop on and do work on. So it's
Is
like
is it like in the middle of your cab, like to the right of the driver's seat, or is it like behind?
it's in the sleeper part, and the way it works is it can fold down, and I move the cushions around, and I have a bed.
So you actually, okay, so like, I don't know a whole lot about trucks, right? You'd think that from knowing you for so many years, I would know more about trucks, but I don't. So you have, okay, so, because I see trucks all the time on the freeway, and I guarantee to you, though, those fucking tiny cabs don't have room for anyone to fucking sleep in them, right?
Yeah.
This has a compartment where you can sleep and has a fold-out table.
Yes, and I have a refrigerator that's about the size of what you would have, of what a really rich kid in college would have in their dorm room.
Like a mini fridge, like in a college dorm, like a really nice one.
Yeah, like what the rich kid.
Oh, okay.
Whose parents are paying for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived with one of those once.
Yeah, and then I also have a couple storage cabinets. Actually, I have a.
So how big is the, like, if you could give me some like rough basic rectangular dimensions, how like wide and long is this cab?
Let's see. I'm actually pulling up Volvo's website right now. By the way, Volvo trucks and Volvo cars are two separate companies. So all they share is just the emblem. So yeah, right now I'm trying to pull up some dimensions right now.
It should be stated for anyone who might be new. Yes, MDefMech is a trucker.
I am a trucker. I am a trucker by job, not by identity, if that makes sense. Because there is a trucker identity that I do not share at all. I just want to make that very, very clear.
So you don't have trucker dysphoria?
No. I'm not truckerkin. Well, I can tell you that by federal regulations, my truck is no more than 8 feet wide, because that's the way all trucks are. They can't be no more than 8 feet wide. And the compartment behind the cab, so this is just the sleeper part that I'm in right now. It is 77 inches long. So from basically the back of the driver and passenger seat, it goes back about 77 inches, which is let me see how much that is in feet. That is 6.5 feet, which is quite a bit.
That's a lot, yeah. That's a pretty spacious inside.
I've got a very large sleeper. It's about 2 meters. It's about 2 meters long, and my bed is 53 inches wide, which means this table is about. Because the way it works is you move the cushions around, because this is a multi-piece bed. It's a 4-piece bed. It's not one big mattress, and you use them also as cushions for where you sit and stuff. I'd say the table is about I want to say 3 feet wide and about 4 feet long. So it's a pretty goddamn big table as well. And and it means that instead of sitting at the driver's seat with the laptop precariously held on the steering wheel or sitting in bed like a fat lump of shit, I actually am sitting properly now with proper. Now I can pretend I'm a professional.
You can pretend.
I can
because
pretend.
Is that not all we have ever done? Pretend.
Yeah, it's sort of like how you put that. It's sort of like how you tell your dad you want to drive a submarine, so he just sticks a steering wheel on the wall. I don't know where that came from.
So
that was a weird comment.
Basically, you got a new truck and it's fucking radical and it has a fridge in it.
And you want to know what's even cooler?
What is cooler than a fridge?
It has an automatic transmission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which, okay, let me clarify something. It's automatic transmissions do not work in trucks. Just simply, there's too many gears, and there's a lot of stress put on the transmission. And if it were a real automatic transmission, it would explode. It would explode within a few thousand miles. So what this is it's a manual transmission, meaning it has a clutch and everything, but it's entirely controlled by the truck's computer. So it behaves like an automatic transmission, but it's not a automatic transmission, if that makes any sense. So
you truck in the lap of luxury.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
How much? Give us a gauge here, because you've talked about your old truck before, but how much of an improvement on your old truck has this one been?
Well, it's been a substantial quality of life improvements. Just because you don't think about it, but the fact that you can I guess people really underestimate how great a table is, especially your own table. Because you could just say, "Oh, well, I could just go inside the truck stop and sit at a table, like in the restaurant or something." But there's something special. There's something to having just a table that you could sit at and just be alone and just. I don't know how I can. Before in my old truck, which didn't have a table and didn't have any desk of any kind, it kind of felt. I kind of felt what I think would feel like being like a neat, an NEET, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because well, okay, no, that neat is not the right term. I guess it would be more like a hikikomori, where it's just like you just sit in one spot and you just kind of don't move and stuff. Whereas right now, it's like I'm having a really hard time trying to explain. It's just nice to have a table to sit at. Um, I feel less lazy. I
People just
feel
people just need to understand the importance of a table on your general mental well-being.
yeah.
It's like when it's let me draw a comparison here and see if you agree. It's like when you're in college, or well, I know you've never been to college, but it's like when, say, like, this is a very common thing in college, but I'm sure that it's something you can relate to. You've moved into a new place, or you've moved into a dorm room, or whatever, and you don't have a desk, so you're using one of those shitty $12 from Walmart folding tables to put your computer on. And then you start saving up money, and then you get yourself a desk, and it's like a whole new fucking world.
yeah. It's something like that. Or if you're just like, um, yeah, that's a really good comparison. Or like even worse, it'd be like moving into a new place and only having like a cardboard box to put your laptop on, and you have to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
And then doing that for like 2 years, and then all of a sudden getting a desk.
Yeah,
That,
or
that's
it's
that's what
or
that's
or
what.
like getting a new chair or something. All of a sudden, it's like you feel like it's a completely new level of experience. So
Yeah. It's
actually,
like
up until back when we recorded the old podcast, and up until actually very recently, I had. I'm on a desk that belonged to my mother when she was in elementary school, so it is a very old desk, and I hate it because it's one solid piece of metal, and
oh
it is a
jeez.
bitch. So like the only part of it you can take apart is the drawers come out that are made of solid metal. It is a bitch to move anywhere, and I'm leaving it here when I leave this house because I don't ever want it again. And back when we did our old podcast, I actually sat in a chair that belonged to my mother when she was in elementary school, and it was the same chair she sat at this desk. And it was the most uncomfortable chair I've ever sat in. It had a vinyl covering for the seat that eventually wore away, and I discovered that there was no cushion. It was literally just a piece of vinyl over steel.
Wait, so the cushion didn't disintegrate. There just was none.
There was no cushion. Like the vinyl began to peel away, and I discovered that it was just metal beneath it. And I was like, no wonder my ass hurt sitting in that chair. The arms of the chair were the same way. And, like when there's arms on a chair, like you always want to put your arms out on them because it's comfortable to do so. I couldn't do this because if I let them rest there and then sat down and played a video game for any length of time, it would actually bruise my elbows.
Oh wow.
It was very painful. That chair is no longer here. I actually, my grandmother, she moved out of her house and in with one of her daughters and sold everything she could and got rid of everything she couldn't sell. And then sold the house, and I actually got one of her chairs, and it is a comfy chair meant for an old person to fall asleep in. And so naturally, I, a young person, fall asleep in it on a regular basis.
That's okay. Like yeah, before my grandma passed away, she had one of those chairs. She had actually one of those chairs because she had severe arthritis. So she had one of those chairs that will literally, it can recline all the way back, so you can lie like horizontal in it, but it would also like stand you up, and it was like the best thing ever. Because I remember falling asleep in that thing all the time. It was like the best.
Yeah,
it was like one of the best chairs I ever.
It's one of those things like there's one thing, like getting a gaming chair is one thing, right? Like a nice gaming chair that's ergonomic and keeps you focused and has a nice armrest. That's one thing.
And has a perforated back, so either your back sweat doesn't pool up and get really sticky.
And I've sat in those gaming chairs that are made from designed to look like racing seats, and those are comfortable, and that's great. But there's nothing like a chair designed for old people.
Yeah,
because you sink into them, and all of a sudden you realize why old people fall asleep in their chairs all the time. It's not because they're old. I mean, it might be, but it's mostly because their seats are so comfortable. And that's what I game in. Yeah. And occasionally I fall asleep while gaming in the middle of a battle.
You're sort of like that one Twitch streamer who tried to do a 24-hour stream of Majora's Mask
and fell asleep in the world. And my favorite part of that video is that, like, in the beginning, because there's videos of this on YouTube, you can find this. Just search Twitch streamer falls asleep Majora's Mask. My favorite part of that stream is that before he fell asleep, there was like maybe 20 people watching his stream, and then he fell asleep and people started tweeting about it, and it caught the attention of a bunch of other popular Twitch streamers who entered the stream to watch him sleep and end the world, and then told all their fans that they were sitting in this Twitch stream. So by the end of that stream, when the world ends, there's like hundreds of people watching and laughing about how he's just failed because he fell asleep. The very famous the moon is coming. That video is amazing. You can find it on YouTube. It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, and I hope some of those people stuck around or at least subbed to him, because that can't be. Because, okay, here's a thing that is sort of like the bane, I guess, of every content creator ever, is that the shit you really work hard on, the shit you really tried your best on, is never as popular as just your shit post. It's like the throwaway post you make or the throwaway tweet will get tens of thousands of notes and interactions, yet like the stuff you create, if you're not already popular, gets like maybe 5 or 10 notes maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your shit posts are always more popular than the art you spend 5 hours on.
Yeah,
and any artist on Tumblr can confirm that this is in fact true.
Yeah. It's like one of my most popular one of my most popular posts is one I made where it's like it was like right at the beginning when Overwatch was still in beta. Or no, not still in beta. It had just come out, and so everybody was fucking playing it, and it was like so fucking popular. And my most popular post on Tumblr is one of a screenshot of play of the game. Of course, it's fucking Bastion. and that's the name of the player is, of course, it's fucking Bastion. And it's actually 2 images, and the second one is another play of the game image, and it's what the fuck does Hanzo say? I forgot what he says. That Aruhiga, go fuck yourself.
That's okay. The post that I made on Tumblr that got reblogged the most was literally just a link to that fucking 98 Koshian video, crazy Japanese baseball players.
Oh yeah.
It's like, the post that you spend hours crafting, or the music that you spend hours writing, or the artwork that you spend hours drawing, never ever ever gets talked about as much as your shit posts and your meltdowns.
My most popular post of all time, because I used to have an older blog by IU. I kind of shut it down and just started anew, because that's I do a lot, is just kill things and restart. But my most popular post of all time was when I took that picture of the abandoned Blockbuster in Washington State.
Oh, yeah, I remember
and it's just
that
over.
picture.
Yeah, I have seen that in so many. I've seen that picture in so many YouTube videos, and on so many it's been on BuzzFeed. It's been on BuzzFeed, that fucking picture.
Yeah, I see that come around on Tumblr every so often, because there's a lot of blogs I follow that are like, there's one I follow called Abandoned Porn, which is just a Tumblr that archives pictures of abandoned places. And every so often I see that picture that you took come up again on that blog.
Yeah, it's like I recently watched a documentary. There's a YouTuber, I think, called Brightson Films, or I'll put it in my cool shit one of these episodes. But he did an episode on Blockbuster. He talks, and well, he does a series called Abandoned, where he just talks about old retail stores and theme parks and stuff that just shut down and are basically abandoned. And one of the ones was Blockbuster, and that was like one of his highlight photos was that fucking picture I made. And it's like every time I see it, I want to say something. Like I'm not pissed off that like people are like stealing it or freebooting it. I just want to be like, hey, you used my picture, that's pretty cool. But I don't say it because it's like I don't have access to the original blog, so I can't prove it's me anymore.
Yeah.
Which is why I now post all of my images onto Flickr now. So that way it's archived, and if that ever happens again, it can be linked straight back to me via Flickr. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps up. I figured this episode was going to be kind of on the short end compared to our old 4-hour episodes we used to do.
Oh, God.
But that about wraps up our, what we've been doing in the past 2 years.
I just realized something. If we monetize these videos, we're gonna get a lot of viewer retention. We could shove so many. I'm not gonna monetize it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Besides, you were gonna ad block it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point of monetizing a video when all of our listeners are going to ad block? I mean, we could, and it really wouldn't be that much of a problem. But I don't really feel the need to. There's no really.
No, we don't have
one
to.
day. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
If it ends up getting like tons of views, but I doubt that will happen. Because I don't think that's going to be the case. Anyways,
we don't have any faith in us.
No. We've never had any faith in us. We never thought that the GCC was going to get any views at all. At all.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually surprised that people continue to download that stuff for so long and in such numbers as well. I'm still surprised about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And thank you for subjecting yourself to this.
Yes, and to the people who are still around, thank you for your continued support and your patience as well.
Yeah. Seriously,
both of us,
thank you.
Both of us have projects coming on the way. I will mention this actually for those of you who follow Salient Sunbreeze, also known as Fox Salient, who is an artist on Tumblr who used to and still to an extent does and did My Little Pony artwork, mostly pornographic, and has also got his own personal project that he's working on, including one about a character of his named Eddie. He's got a webcomic going that I don't remember the name of. Anyways, for those of you who follow him...
Various Happenings.
Various Happenings, thank you. I should really know this thing because he's more than once sat me down and explained the entire story of everything to me. No spoilers. I can't really talk about this stuff, obviously. But anyways, those of you who follow him know that he is currently working on a visual novel. That I don't believe he has revealed the name to yet, so I'm not going to say the name of it. But it is about Eddie, and it is a tie-in to his webcomic Various Happenings. I am doing the music for that. So that is one of the myriad of reasons why I haven't been posting music, is because most of the time that I've had to work on music has been spent working on music for a project that is not finished yet. So I'm doing the music for that. I will eventually begin talking about that project once I get the okay from Saley. We will most likely invite him to come on to talk about that project if he wants to do that. I will say this. He has sent me extensive notes about like the whole lore of his universe and everything. It's pretty awesome. I'm really digging the story that he's got going, and I've always been a fan of Saley's artwork because I've always really liked that absolutely bizarre style of his.
Yes,
At some point, we'll link his blog. You can find it, salientsummaries.tumblr.com. But you can also find him, I believe, at foxsalient.com. I don't know if that website is still up, though. But yeah, so I'll be doing the music for that visual novel. I'll be actually planning on doing the music for all of the visual novels that he wants to do, but of course he's only doing one right now to see if the idea works. So that'll be a project to look forward to. I do have my own musical projects that I'm working on that will get released eventually, I promise, to YouTube, once I've had the time to finish all of that shit. And that time is slowly coming back to me. You know, it's been a hell of a 2 years, and hopefully I'll get the okay to talk about what the fuck happened with the Boy Scouts in the time that I haven't been talking to MDAFEC, because let me tell you, it is a fucking ride from start to finish. Maybe I'll tell you later when we're not recording MDAFEC. It's a fantastic story. But anyways, I did want to say this about our show. We are going to have a similar structure to what we had before. We begin every episode with meta stuff, though this time we didn't, obviously, because our main topics were meta stuff. We have our main topic series, and then we will, of course, be bringing back our cool shit segment, which I do believe we can begin now.
Yeah, we could totally do that right now. Yeah, I can't think of anything else I can say project-wise I haven't already said. So I'll go ahead and kick us off. My first cool thing, and we'll just go.
Let's for anyone who might be new, the cool shit segment is where we talk about, and we're actually going to be changing it up from what we used to do. Now we're just going to have 2 things per person, because it used to be our cool shit segment would be like an hour long. And I know some people like that, but man, is that tiring.
Remember when we did the cool shit segment first?
That's right. And it would take us forever to get to the main topic of the day, and then we'd be so tired by the time we got to the main topic that it would be like a half hour shorter in the cool shit segment.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Bad days. I don't want to return to those days.
So yeah, let me just I'll go ahead and start it, and we'll go back and forth. My first thing is a YouTube channel for a guy named Isaac. I was about to say Isaac Clarke. No,
I don't think that's who it is.
No, Isaac Arthur, who he's a guy he's a futurist. And he does videos focusing on concepts, scientific concepts relating to space exploration and the viability of various things you see in sci-fi, and also various concepts like the Fermi paradox, Dyson spheres, or more accurately, Dyson swarms. Things like star lifting, along with colonization, stuff like that. Really, really good videos. He's done quite a few of them. They're pretty long videos. They're usually about 20 to 30 minutes, up to an hour. And while he does put a lot of visual stuff in there, he does put up a lot of visual examples of what he's talking about. You can totally get away with just having the audio on, so you can put it on in the background while you're doing something else or something like that. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating. He also presents his own theories on things. Like he presents a lot of theories, or not theories, hypotheses, especially regarding the Fermi paradox. You may not agree with everything, but again, he does specify that they're his own thoughts and nothing real concrete. And yeah, it's really awesome. I definitely go check him out. I will warn you though, he has a speech impediment where he can't pronounce the letter R, so he does sound like Elmer Fudd. And if you have an issue, and like he says at the beginning of every video, if you do have trouble listening, he does have full closed captioning on his videos. So, yeah, that's my first cool thing.
All right, my first cool thing is a website called ztype. It's zty.pe, and it is just a website that has a video game on it that is sort of like Space Invaders, except instead of aiming and shooting, each one has a word attached to it, and you type the word. It's a lot like, if any of you have played, I know Defbeck and I have talked about this game before, but the Typing of the Dead game on Steam. This is just a sort of free Flash-based version of something like that, and I have to say this, it has been invaluable to me, along with Typing of the Dead, obviously. Let's see, 2 years ago, around the time we stopped recording, my average typing speed was about 95 words per minute. And I started having to do a lot of work at the keyboard for my job that had a lot of text input, a lot of number input, a lot of work with Excel, a lot of work with Microsoft Word. I had to write emails, and I started using ztype and other things like it to practice typing, basically, because I found the way that a lot of people practice typing is they'll open a book and they'll just type it. And I find that so fucking tedious because I am a lazy ADD, ADHD millennial, not literally. That's what older people would say I am. And I have no fucking patience for all those old ways of practicing typing. I need a fucking video game, and I need to blast things, and I need to see blood and shit and explosions. So ztype has actually been really cool for me because it's another program like Typing of the Dead to practice getting my typing speed up. And now my average typing speed is about 100, but I have hit as fast as 120 more than once. So definitely actually a really good practicing tool, and also a pretty fun like time-wasting game for you there. It's called ztype.
Cool. So is there like blood and gore in this game?
No. It's just explosions, it's just aliens and shit. It's like Space Invaders.
Cute. All right. For my second and final thing, is this now? This is sort of like a gigantic, open source collaborative, sci-fi epic called the Orion's Arm Universe Project, and you can certainly go in and just like explore it. There's like this was launched in the year 2000, so there's 17 years of just
Jesus.
lore and stories. Like this is basically a sci-fi setting. It's not like one novel. It's a setting with thousands and thousands of stories, and music, and artwork, and concept art, and maps, and just so much stuff. Tons and tons of shit. And one of the handy things that it has in it, which I really like, is the Encyclopedia Galactica. And the reason I like this so much is it is a encyclopedia, which is fascinating. I mean, I've certainly fallen into a Wikipedia hole, and I'm pretty sure most people have. But you can easily do that with this as well, with their Encyclopedia Galactica. But it's also really great if you're like wanting to write a sci-fi story or make a game and or something like that, and you just need like some ideas for like technology or like ideas for like types of planets or alien species or stuff like that. This this is basically just a well of lore and sci-fi that you can draw ideas and inspiration from, and that's why I'm linking it here. I think
if
it's
I may
totally
cut,
fucking awesome.
if I may cut in here, actually, I'm looking at the website right now, and they have a very interesting page here. It's the if you go down to the bottom of the page, it's linked in our show notes, and our show notes will be linked in, of course, in our video description. I think we should mention that anything we link and talk about, you can find in our show notes, which are posted in the video description for the podcast on YouTube. And I believe we'll also probably drop links into the YouTube description itself, so you don't have to see the show notes, but I don't know if we're actually going to do that. But anyways, the show notes are going to be there. I just want to read out this off here on the Welcome to Orion's Arm page here. It's a statement of purpose. Our purpose is to inspire writers, artists, and thinkers to create a vision of the future that is plausible at every level, internally consistent, and abides by accepted facts and theories in the physical, biological, and social sciences. We embrace speculative ideas and developments that will make this all possible. They list a bunch of speculative ideas that I didn't want to list off because I can't pronounce some of these words.
Yeah, they really commit themselves to hard SF, hard science fiction. You know,
Yeah, that's cool.
They say both a space opera and hard sci-fi because yeah, but really, yeah, that's what this project aims to, is just have a set of hard rules that you abide by, and aside from that, just do whatever the hell you want. Yeah. Yeah, this is just this is on the level of like the cutting room floor or TV tropes, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is cool. I like this. I'm definitely gonna be checking this out.
Oh yeah.
For story ideas.
I've started using this for my video game projects. That's how I found it, was and just looking for and just trying to hammer out what my lore and story was going to be. So yeah, check it out. You'll lose a few hours here.
All right, my second final thing I linked here is a YouTube video to the opening animation for a video game called Atelier Virus. And I actually wanted to link this because the release date for Atelier Virus is very close to the recording of this podcast episode here. The release date for Atelier Virus is February 7th. I'm an idiot. Is it March 7th? Atelier. Hella professional. Virus release date. The microphone's going to pick up the typing of my mechanical keyboard too. Oh, no, it's not that close. March 7th. Recording
Okay,
this.
I was about to say, don't forget that February is a 2 and March is a 3.
We're recording this in January. For some reason, I thought it was next month that this game's going to go. Well, anyways, the release date is March 7th, 2017 in North America. The game is already out in Japan. And it is the second Atelier game in the Mysterious trilogy, the first of which is Atelier Sophie. So, for those of you who don't know, Atelier games come in trilogies or duologies. Some of the most famous ones are Atelier Rorona, which is the first game in the trilogy, the Arland trilogy, which goes Atelier Rorona, Atelier Toturi, and Atelier Meridu. And all the Atelier games are generally about the same kind of game. They're games that are about crafting and grinding, and they have a turn-based battle system, and the theme is alchemy. And they have these really complex crafting systems that let you make items with really cool effects and stuff. It's very similar, actually, to a game we once talked about in a previous podcast called Raketter, Item Shop's Tale. Very similar. Atelier games are more about crafting and adventuring than they are about sales, but they're a lot of fun. And I actually just finished Atelier Sophie, which is the first game in the current trilogy, and that one came out last year. The one I've linked here is Atelier Virus, which is the sequel to that one. But I just wanted to sort of shed some light on a series that I absolutely love, and that is actually still getting games, which I'm very happy about. It's kind of a niche game. I would definitely say if you're interested in whatever I'm describing, check the game out on YouTube first before getting it, because it might not be your thing. But I actually saw a post the other day on Tumblr that they described the Atelier games perfectly. What the post said was, if you're ever playing an RPG, like a traditional RPG where like you're the chosen one and you're with your group of chosen ones and you've been training to defeat
the hero's journey.
Yeah, the hero's journey, basically. Your general JRPG, and you're at the last dungeon and you're finding your way through, maybe the dungeon goes down. You're finding your way down all the floors. You get to the very bottom floor and you see you're down this long hallway and there's a save point. You can tell like this is where the boss is going to be. And right before the boss, there is this woman who is a merchant, and she's just standing there, and she sells all of the rarest weapons and all of the best potions, and maybe she sells the revive potions or the Phoenix Downs or whatever. The things that you've been having a hard time finding, and she just has 100 of them, and you can just buy them, and she charges you up the ass for them because they're really precious. And you think to yourself, I'm the chosen one. I'm about to go defeat the evil Night Lord of the universe. And this lady has gotten all of these things that I have to grind for, and she's just selling them. And how the fuck did this woman get all these super rare items and is just standing here? She had to have fought her way through these 99 floors of absolute hell, to get down here to sell me this shit. Just what kind of woman is this? Well, the Atelier games are about that woman. And I think that's a very good description of what these games are about. Anyways, I've linked the opening video to Atelier Fierce because it's my favorite opening video so far. Very cute. Check the series out. It is still getting games, and we are currently about to get the second game in the current trilogy.
So you're raiding in the final dungeon and you see this. What do? Potion seller. I'm going to battle. I want your strongest potions. My potions are too strong for you, traveler. Potion seller, I tell you, I'm going into battle and I want only your strongest potions. You can't handle my potions, they are too strong for you. Potion seller, listen to me. I want only your strongest potions. My potions will kill you, traveler. Well, I will say that I think we have a show.
I think we've got... This was cathartic. We haven't sat down for so long. I haven't sat down and recorded myself talking in such a long time.
Yes,
Jesus, it's been too long.
I am going to masturbate furiously tonight.
Me too, except it's going to be to the sound of this podcast while I'm editing it.
And for me, it's going to be to... well, let's just say I've broadened my horizons beyond humans and horses.
Oh my god. Look,
I'd fuck a dragon.
All I'm saying is the third game in the Monster Musume trilogy, or series rather, is really good. You did do that video. Should you fuck a Hydra?
Yes, I did, and I'm actually thinking about redoing that, because I'm starting to learn After Effects, and I bet I can make a pretty slick-looking video. Basically just like fucking...
You do it like one of those fucking montage parodies with like lens flare.
Oh no, I was thinking of like, have you watched Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah.
In a nutshell?
Yeah, the In a Nutshell series.
Just do something like that, except it's about whether or not you'd fuck a Hydra.
All right, and with that, thank you to anyone who is still listening to us. Thank you to anyone who is new, starting to listen to us. We have a lot of fun making podcasts, and we hope that you have a lot of fun listening to them.
Yes. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for being a new listener. If you are a new listener, well, not thank you. You have our condolences.
Yeah, we're very sorry, but we're also not very sorry at all.
No. Yes. So, all right, and with that, we out.